Who wants to do a 20-second timer draft? Who wants to do an underdog draft? The Mini Schnauzer 5. Right now on the channel, let's do a 20-second draft.
Mashed potatoes! Yeah, buddy.
You're watching a
graveyard stream.
live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk.
No breaking news tonight. I'm sorry about that. Okay, we're gonna get into a draft right now. Let's go on over to the Mini Schnauzer number 5 20-second draft. It's one of the very last cards. Keep swiping down. I haven't hit the button yet, so calm down. Those of you that get trigger happy and you just start jumping in. We'll jump in together. I'll tell you when to go, and then I'll hit the green button about 7 to 8 seconds later because there's a little bit of a YouTube delay, and we'll jump into the same draft hopefully. And if you don't get in, don't cry, don't complain, don't get all mad. We can all get into drafts all off season long together, and you can draft alongside of the boys here tonight. Code Smitty gets it done. The link that I'm going to drop in the live chat also gets it done. The link's in the description of the video. Here's the link right here. Let me get on over to the live chat and pin that bad boy so that we can make sure everybody's in the right place. All right, the link has been pinned in the live chat. Underdog will match your first deposit 50%. So smash it, do it live, hit that link, and if you deposit 100, they'll give you $50. You deposit the minimum 10, they'll give you $5. And these are $3 drafts that we're doing. I think they're $3 drafts, right? We're gonna test out where MHJ and Kyler can go. It's kind of hard to deploy a strategy in front of you guys because I get sniped. Even if I'm trying to do something, somebody just comes in and grabs them. I don't know if I'm gonna have the exact draft spot to get both MHJ and Kyler, but it's something we'll look at. We'll talk about at least. Even if I get sniped, we'll say there's a lot of ways that I like to draft Kyler and MHJ, and I think one of the most interesting ways to do it is, let's say you have that 11 pick or something, or the 12 pick, and you end up getting MHJ here, and you have to go MHJ a little earlier in best ball, like in your mom and pop grandma league. Come on, focus. You can get MHJ in the 13, 14, 15 territory. Like you can get him anywhere in that territory in a grandma work league or whatever. But in a best ball draft, MHJ is going to cost you 11, 12, sometimes higher, sometimes maybe if you're lucky, the 13 or 14 pick if you're lucky. But let's say you go with a strategy. Let's say you get lucky and you get Gibbs. Let's say you have the 12 and 13 turn picks, and you get Gibbs because he falls there a lot of the time. He does. It's fantastic value. Let's say you go Gibbs and MHJ. Okay? And then in the next round, you take Jalen Hurts, and people are like, oh, man, you're not stacking anything, are you, bro? And then you get down later to this Kyler pick, and there might be a player in between. It depends on where Kyler falls. But now all of a sudden you do this very creative stack with a bully QB system. And here you might have another player. Let's say you have a McBride, okay? I just want to make sure you guys don't think I'm taking Kyler right after I take Hurts. I'm just trying to paint a picture that a later quarterback in Kyler I'm stacking with MHJ, even though I've got a bully QB system going here. One of my favorite understated stacks in fantasy best ball. I wanted to share it with you, give you a piece of knowledge, as we don't just draft on the channel. We provide knowledge, we provide application, we provide example, and we have conversations, and then the drafting goes alongside of it. I can't stand like, as a consumer, if I was, and I don't have time to watch anybody's show, but if I was a consumer watching, the last thing I want to do is watch a stupid, mundane, over and over, same old draft board, big old draft board, can't see anybody's face, don't know what in the hell's going on. There's no phone calls, there's no entertainment at all. You're just watching a stupid draft over and over and over. I don't do that. We have application, we have process, we've got predictions, we've got conversation, We've got applicable stuff that helps you dominate your league, while all these Excel sheet Erics are just doing the same damn thing over and over. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. Let's jump into a draft, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump into a draft. Go to the Mini Schnauzer 5 and click it now. Green button, go. I'm going to wait 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. $3. The number 5. 20-second. Oh, I forgot to tell you. It's in the title. It's right on the screen. 20-second timer. Buckle up, Buttercup. This is going to be a wild ride. And on that note, I got to jump right over and load the draft because the 20 seconds is going to go quick. I'm not starting at the 1. That's good. The countdown's a minute. They should make the countdown 20 seconds too. They should get you all prepared for it. Okay, let me see here. Draft begins in... Where is this? Here we go. All right, I'll put it up on the screen here. Draft board. Boom and boom. I'm drafting right smack in the middle of this bad boy. Yeah, buddies. Underdog Fantasy, code Smitty. You see it all on the top of the screen, at the bottom of the screen. We'll take phone calls in a second. Nick is in the 7 spot. All right, here we go. 76 in the building, only 21 thumbs up, says Travis. Hit that thumb up button. Thanks, Travis. Appreciate you. Doing it live. 23 thumbs up, 74 in the building. Hit the thumb up button. Do it live. How many we have in here from YouTube? 74. Why are we not streaming to Twitter? It's interesting. It says 0 people from Twitter. The stream must have not went through. That's right. No, don't tell the Twitter people, but we don't need them anyway. We're a YouTube show. All right, Caps, what's going on? Rock out in the building, Southwest. Appreciate you, Crick. What's going on? My guy Torres, Panda, Al. Appreciate you, Al. John in the building. John didn't get in. John, blame it on us again. Blame it on me again, John. John, if you didn't get in, just apply what we're doing in the draft after. I think you'll have a good time doing that. Sometimes I wish I missed our draft, so I could draft by myself alone. No, I know a lot of you like to draft with the crew, and that's awesome, and I love that. But there are some advantages of drafting outside of the community. You know what I'm saying? Especially at the same time. I think dragons are one of ours. I think, I know Superfish is. I think, who do we say? Nick was in the 7. Okay. So this is awesome. This is a 20-second timer. It goes really quick. You got to kind of, you wanted any advice on this? Pre-rank as much as you can to give yourself that ability. Let's go with, I'm going to go JJ here. I'm going to go JJ. We're going to try and potentially deploy.
Once upon a time, Trey McBride saw to quarterbacks cross streams.
Wrong button. We're going to try and deploy the Matrix if we can. What's the Matrix, Smitty?
Matrix activated.
The Matrix is drafting Chase, Lamb, or Hill in round 1. Chain and Kyren specifically in rounds 2 and 3.
Yes.
Then Mahomes or Hurts, and of course Allen if he fell in round 4. In round 5, McBride or Kincaid.
The Matrix, the best draft strategy in the entire Milky Way galaxy.
Unload the Matrix upon your league.
Game over.
Not going to be easy to do in this crew. Not going to lie. I think there's probably 0 chance I'm going to get, both those running backs in this crew. And please, do what you got to do. Don't think you're sniping me. Draft who you got to draft. But know that my intention would be to try and deploy that, and we can talk it through. It usually will work. It 100% is possible every time you draft. 100% possible every time you draft. Notice the wording I used. But it's probably 0% possible to deploy inside our community. Even if I've got 3 people spread out, there's just no chance. It's just the way it ends up going. Bijan and who, Sunwall? Who are you going? And just so you guys know, the reason I sometimes draft without you, I'll start a draft and then go live, is so that I can have some teachable moments. There really is not a lot I can do when we're together because we're all very like-minded. I'm gonna go Achan here. So I've got the Jefferson is still in the wheelhouse of the Matrix. He's kind of slipping out of it a little bit, but he's still very much, I think, somebody we can kind of put in the conversation, no doubt about it. Do I think he's going to be the same player that he could be if he had a Cousins throwing him the football and overfeeding him tons and tons of passes? No, I don't think he's quite there, but he's still in the possibility of deploying this. Okay, Superfish with the DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, love that. I don't think DK is too early there. I think that when you see, look at all these wide receivers that have been Superfish or Waddle got snagged. See, at Kyron, there's no way Kyron was going to fall to me because Superfish is in this draft. Not to mention a few. Well, you know what? If Snow and Superfish, don't feel bad. If Superfish wasn't in that spot, I think he would have fallen all the way down. Because I don't think these guys. Actually, Coley might be one of ours. I'm not positive. But, and I don't know that Barkley just went. I was going to say I could almost go Barkley here. I have to pre-rank here. Running backs, there's no way to keep deploying this strategy at this point. It's kind of like... I'll go Devontae Smith here. We'll see what we can cook up. Yeah, there's a couple other players. I almost wish I would have went a different direction. Don't regret the pick, but I like Devontae Smith a lot. But, there was another strategy I kind of wanted to deploy after I hit the button. Bijan, Saquon, Achan start on the roster on the other draft. That's good. Saquon, Achan, and Bijan, nice. I like it. Ayuk is going way too high, says Sebastian. Of course, I agree with that one. 17 is ridiculously high. Yep. Draft without you all sometimes because you're a bunch of heathen sniping everyone, says Travis. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't dislike the Smith pick. I just kind of wish I went. You know what? I don't know. End of the day, it's not a bad pick. What am I going to do with this next pick here? Let me show you the board. So 2 picks away, we got Zay Flowers, we got ETN still there, Lamar, Pacheco. Hold on, I got to go back to the board. Travis Etienne just went. Trey McBride, bully tight end. Very, very respectable start there. I went JJ, Achan, Devontae Smith, Patrick Mahomes. Kind of wish I went Kelsey. That was the move. I didn't want to say what I wanted to do, but I kind of wish I went Kelsey, Mahomes, Achan, JJ. But still very, very good. Devontae Smith, I think, is very undervalued right now. I think he's very much worth a 3rd round pick. He could be, any season, he could be the number 1 in Philly. I think people are underestimating his ability. He's been a top 9 wide receiver before. I think they're underestimating his ability to literally be a rotational who's the best in Philly. A.J. Brown's not that much older than him, but his knees are. What's the best strategy for ESPN? I don't know, Crit. I don't do a lot of ESPN drafts right now this time of year. So I hear the ADP is awful, but I don't know that you can trust the ADP just because people are mock drafting through 3 rounds and quitting and letting the auto draft, continue on. I don't know that you have any sort of good auto draft data at all. Or, ADP data. Even if there are people drafting there, I bet you when push comes to shove and your draft begins, you don't see the value you see in the mock draft. So I don't trust any of that ADP data, my guy. I don't trust any of it. We are a hummin'. We are a hummin'. What is Mr. Okay, I think we're going to go Hollywood here. So we've got the Mahomey and Hollywood stack. We've got H.N., J.J., Devontae Smith. Feeling pretty good. Rockout dropping the 2 wad on screen. Thank you, Rockout. Appreciate you. Rockout says, what is he saying right now? He says, I like Ayuk in the 3rd, but he's going in the mid-second. What to do? You just let him go. If he goes to Washington, dare I say some people might like it, some people might not. I don't know that he necessarily climbs. If Ayuk climbs, Ayuk could climb to the mid-second on the regular. Right now he kind of floats between the top of round 2, as we saw in this draft, or mid to top. And then sometimes he's bottom around 2, sometimes in the 3rd. But maybe Washington won't jive with everybody. I don't really know. I know I like him in Washington more than I like him in San Francisco. I know a lot of people think, San Francisco, it's great offense, but a lot of mouths to feed. And if he doesn't get a long-term deal, if he gets a long-term deal, I feel more comfortable with it, but I still don't take him in round 2. If he doesn't get a long-term deal and he's playing on his 5th-year option, then you got to feel a little bit worried about their commitment to using him the way that they would if he was under contract, meaning they're looking at Ricky Parasol, 1st-round pick. He's the replacement for Ayuk if Ayuk is playing on the 5th-year option, and then they're going to franchise tag him maybe and trade him, which is why I think they trade him before that more likely than franchise tagging him and trading him, because I feel like they know that franchise tagging him and trading him next year is harder to do. It's easier to say than do because that number is going to be maybe $28 to $30 million. Or 27 to 28 to $29 million, especially after Jamar Chase is the average of the top 5 salaries. You'll have JJ, Lamb, and Jamar Chase, and that amount's going to be huge because you're going to have 2 of those, Chase and hold on a second. What do I do here? I never take Worthy. But I kind of don't mind going Hollywood, Worthy, Patrick Mahomes. It's not my usual cup of tea, but this feels like a pretty decent start. Got Chase, Achane, Kyron, Mahomes, and Kincaid to start my Schnauzer, and attaboy Ray D doing the Matrix like we know he can. My only concern about talking about the Matrix is that we're going to have so many people doing it. I think the Matrix will win one of the big tournaments. But I feel like I'm destroying my own chances because we're handing the blueprint straight out. I like Ayuk in the 3rd, but I already got that one. Thank you, Rockout. Appreciate you dropping that super chat, my guy. All right, let's get closer, getting closer to my pick here. Let me slide on down here. Actually, I'll just keep it right there. Okay, Kyler Murray. I wanted to go Kyler and MHJ, but it just didn't fall. Emmy Harrison went 12. Okay, I'm almost on the clock here. This is a great draft slot. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's a pretty solid draft slot. Aaron Jones. Let's go. I kind of like this pick a little bit right now. I know he's older. He's 29 years old, but just a different type of running back, takes his mileage a little different. And the fact that you can cuff him to Kendre in best ball formats, you know, it makes it feel really comfortable, especially as like your RB2. So in this situation, I've got JJ, Achane, Devontae Smith, Patrick Mahomes, Hollywood, Xavier Worthy, and Alvin Kamara. Feels pretty solid. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Number 2 receivers are getting number 1 money. Obviously a wide receiver league, says Wayne. Well, it's a quarterback and wide receiver league. And, you know, tight ends are going to do pretty good too. I'm so proud of you seeing that massive stack, says Herbert. Bro, I'll stack it if the value's there. This is not a new thing for me. I'll either stack or not stack based on player value. I'll never force a stack. So nothing's changed here. The trifecta of Kansas City receivers, yeah. It's not bad. I would have if Reed fell, but he didn't. All right, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Where are we at? Where are we at? Okay, I'm gonna go. This is my bully QB. My bully QB stack, and it's cost effective. 8th round. I don't feel like it's even bully QB anymore. I think you're grabbing your backup a tad early. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting the bully QB effect by going Jaden Daniels and Mahomes, and I'm not even having to pay bully prices. So JJ, I'm in the 6th spot. JJ, Achane, Devonta Smith, Patrick Mahomes, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Alvin Kamara, Jaden Daniels. Doing it live. Sebastian says, how come you didn't stack Devonta Smith? Because stacking doesn't do anything for you in non-best ball, Sebastian. It has 0 advantage. The only thing you could say is like it's such a good offense, it'll always be up, and that's a good, you know, way of taking players in a great offense. But stacking does not change anything. If anything, I don't like stacking in non-best ball. Like sometimes I'm okay with it. Kelsey and Mahomes or a Hurts and Devontae Smith or a Hurts and AJ Brown's fine because it's a potent offense. But I think DK outscores Devontae Smith, and that's all that matters. There's no stacking in non-best ball. People don't understand. I'm sorry, Sebastian. I don't mean you don't understand, but people just are so used to stacking in best ball, they think it does anything for them in redraft. It doesn't. It can be a disadvantage. DK is better than Devontae Smith in terms of the season output, in my opinion. I think DK is going to be a wide receiver, like at least a low end wide receiver 1. I think it's an absolute smash. Wouldn't change it if I. Let's go with the Mostert draft selection, which, you know, he may or may not do, may or may not stay healthy, but I'm cuffing him to Achane. I'm exploding from my RB. Like, the beauty about having Achane and Mostert, and Achane, Mostert, and Wright, even better, is that you're potentially sometimes going to double dip into the same team running back room and getting your 2 best players without like poorly doing it. You know what I mean? It's not like I've got Kendre Miller and Kamara and I'm going to have a bad week with my other RBs. I get Kamara having a good week and Kendre has like 4 points and he just happens to be my 2nd highest scoring running back anyway, and I'm using both of them. I'm talking about Mostert and Achane could both have 100 yards and a touchdown each, and they outscore Kamara, and my 2 starters are Dolphin running backs. So it's an unbelievable start. I really like this team. JJ, Achane, Devonta Smith, Mahomes, Hollywood, Xavier Worthy, Alvin Kamara, Jaden Daniels, Raheem Mostert, doing it live. That's a phenomenal start. All right. Marvin Mims will have 75 total returns this year. We'll see what happens. Some of these cases, we don't even know who's fully returning kicks yet. There's a potential change. Bold take, JSN outscores DK. I mean, it could happen. We love JSN. John loves the team except for the Kamara pick. I like the Kamara pick, to be honest. It's just such a good little running back to have. Okay. We could definitely use a wide receiver here. I'm going to go with good old Jahan Dotson and get that little Jaden Daniels and Dotson stack going. You see what I'm doing there? I got my two QBs both having a stack situation. Mahomes, Hollywood, Worthy, JD 5, and Dotson doing it live. Zay Flowers jumps to the top 10 wide receivers this season, says Sandu. It's not that it's impossible, but history is 1,000% against you on this one. Only because Lamar's never had a top 20. I don't think Lamar's had a top 30 wide receiver, let alone a top 25. I don't think he's ever had a top 30 wide receiver. If he has, it depends on the scoring system, and it might be 28 or something. But he has never had a top 25 wide receiver. If I could choose one, Marvin Harrison or Garrett Wilson. I mean, I divided in, you got two different leagues side by side, broski. You're smashing one in one and one in the other. I mean, you can't go wrong. If push comes to shove, I've got one draft. I'm not playing fantasy, but one draft. Remember when you used to have just one draft? How brutal was that? We have a new draft every night. And it's real. It's not a mock draft. It's a real league here. That's why Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll match your first deposit 50%. So drop 100, they give you 50. The minimum's 10, they'll give you 5. Links pinned in the live chat. Do it live. So I guess I could go a few different directions here. Maybe I really like Leggett. I really do. I think Leggett's going to be pretty damn good this year. The more I look at Leggett, the more I really think he's going to be. I mean, first of all, I think we were probably higher on him than almost anybody you could possibly find walking into the NFL draft. His landing spot's good. It's not amazing or great, but it's good. And he's the type of wide receiver that Bryce Young could just say, F it, he's over there. I'm slinging it up. Which badge is better on an Underdog? Red. Red is the top of the line badge. Although they should have like a gold badge if you've like won a tournament or something, you know, I think. But red is the of these badges, it's the top of the line. Yeah, I think Leggett has like a 7 touchdown 1,000-yard even season, or 6 touchdown 1,000-yard even season. I really think he's going to be pretty damn good. All right, let's scroll down a tad. So this guy in the 12 spot, it's fine. He took my Kendra Miller. It's okay, but like looking at his team, I mean, this is why I don't like this strategy. I don't like these. I mean, Spears is good. Corum. I mean, problem is like these guys won't get in there to smash. And, in weeks 1, 2, and necessarily, they might take some time. And so the running back scoring is going to take a big hit. So wide receivers are great, but I don't know. All right, I don't want to get sniped here. I'm just going to take them early just because it's a really important piece of my team. And I'm just afraid in this little snipe city, I'm going to take them about 10 picks too early. Not that crazy, honestly. I mean, 12 picks too early, I'd imagine. Right around there. I mean, I think that he could have fallen, but I'm not going to risk it. So right now, as it stands, my running back stable is Devon Achane, Cuff to Mostert, and Jalen Wright. I've got Alvin Kamara as well, and so I'm sitting pretty solid with that right there. In some ways, I could not draft another RB. I'm going to probably, but I could get away with it because, I mean, no matter what, I need one more for the bye week for Miami, but at the same time, it's like, that's a strategy some people deploy. Go light 1 week. And the bye week for Kamara is 12, so not a big deal. My wide receivers share a lot of the same buys. I've got Worthy, Hollywood, and JJ all on a week 6 bye. My QBs have different bye weeks. Three picks away. I think I'm going to roll with, I don't want to say yet. Let me just wait a second and see if I get down to my pick, and then I'll tell you who I'm going to draft right when I get on the clock. Vidal was a good pick. I was going to potentially go that direction. Nice job. Tight end. I'm just going to go with my breakout. One of my guys that I think can be a top 5, not just top 10, like he could be a top 5 or 6 tight end in Luke Musgrave. Really think he's being slept on. Every year somebody outside the top 10 becomes like that 5, 6, 4, sometimes higher tight end. There's usually somebody outside the top 10, sometimes top 12 that creeps in, and I think Musgrave, Goddard. We did a show on it, so there's tons of options. We'll get into a few others in a little bit. I don't want to spill my secrets out there, but these are the ones. I love this team. I really do. And this is one of those drafts where I let the draft come to me. I didn't chase the snipe city instinct that a lot of people have to just keep sniping each other over and over and over, drafting guys too high. Only guy I drafted too high was probably Jalen Wright, just to make sure I had the trio. But JJ, Achane, Smith, Mahomes, Hollywood, Worthy, Kamara, JD5, Raheem Mostert, got Jalen Wright, Jahan Dotson, Xavier Legette, Jalen Wright, as I said, Luke Mother freaking Musgrave. And Ben Sinnott was a guy I was going to potentially take, but he got snagged right now. No problem. No harm, no foul. You just adjust and adapt, baby. You don't hesitate. You don't bat an eye. You just keep moving. And I'm going to go Jermaine Burton, big-time wide receiver sleeper for the 2024 season. This guy might replace T. Higgins before T. Higgins even leaves. While he's still on the roster, while he's franchise tagged on the roster, we might see Jermaine Burton just say, move aside, T. T gets a little tummy ache and maybe pulls his hamstring while he's trying to get to the sideline to address his tummy ache. And Burton comes in and never comes out. Let's go. Burton to the moon. Burton season.
To the moon.
Might even be a Mars man. Go watch this episode if you didn't already see it. The Bijan versus Christian McCaffrey debate. Also touched on, and there's a video before this for the breaking news video on Lamb, but we also touch on it on the last show that has this graphic here. Lamb chops wants 32 mil a year, according to some vague, very loose reports that don't feel like they got a whole lot of concreteness to it, if you will. This team is fire. Probably the best part about this team is the HN Mostert and Jalen Wright. Like that is just best ball heaven right there. To have the trio, to have it all locked down. Just a smash. Hit that thumb up button on the way in the door. We only have 44 thumbs up and 114 of you in here from YouTube. Hit that thumb up button. Smash it. Do it live. Appreciate you. My team so far, I've got enough wide receivers probably, for now at least. And then I definitely think I'm going to potentially grab... Let's see here. Oh, I had to take him early. I was going to time out. I don't even know how far down he was. I don't think he was that far down, actually. But I was timing out, and he was on my queue. He's one of the only guys on my queue, so I went to my queue and I probably even timed out on it. I don't know. But there you go, Braylon out. That concludes my running back stable. That also gives me that extra RB for bye weeks. And he and Kamara share the same bye. So it's kind of an interesting build in a way, because I'm only suffering those 2 weeks. But Braylon Allen and Kamara on the same bye week 12. And then my other 3 RBs, HN, Mostert, and Jalen Wright, all on the same team. Obviously, have the same bye week in week 6. Feels pretty solid. Week 6 is also early on, so the odds of Kamara and Braylon Allen both being healthy and not having a full season and getting injured or something is pretty solid as well. Mahomes by week 6, Jaden Daniels by week 14. My wide receivers, again, I've got a plethora of week 6 guys. Well, actually only 3. JJ and then my 2 chief wide receivers, Hollywood and Xavier Worthy. And then Devonta Smith is week 5. Jahan Dotson's 14. Legette's 11. Jermaine Burton's 12. So I'm very, very spread out. I'm looking pretty good. Marsman Rockout's dialing into the phone line. Marsman Rockout, how do you like my team, bro? I think it's a really good team.
Oh, go to it.
Who do you like? Who do we go here? We go Gesicki, or do we go... I don't really want to say.
I guess Gesicki right now.
I'm going to take him here just because I've got Burton. You got Joe Burrow in the mix here. Kind of an interesting second tight end to mix with Musgrave. I don't hate it. Frank says, no BS, Smitty is the best YouTuber fantasy analyst. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Frank. You know, without saying it in an arrogant way, I don't think anybody's channel, like, even if, whether I'm right or wrong, you know, like, that's a whole nother debate, but I think we're the most entertaining. Like, that's for sure. I mean, who engages with their audience more? Nobody. This is your show. You are the people. I'm sorry. What did you say about my team here? I'm trying to draft, and I didn't hear what you said. But Justin Jefferson, Achane, Devontae Smith, Mahomes, Hollywood, Worthy, Kamara, JD5, Mostert, Dotson, Xavier Legette, Jalen Wright, Luke Musgrave, Jermaine Burton, Braylon Allen, Mike Gesicki. How you feeling about this?
I like it.
Not just you, but the comedic heads. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Can I give you my bad team?
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right, Jordan Love, Stafford, running back McCaffrey, Kyron Williams, ETN, Chase Brown, Ford, wide receiver Samuel, Reed, Hopkins, Coleman, Mitchell, Leggett, tight end, Donat, and Likely.
I like it. I kind of like going 3 tight ends and 3 QBs, though. I still feel like it's a really, really safe, proven. Like, there's certain things the data, I feel, can tell you without telling you. Let me word it this way. Saying going wide receiver is better chance of making it this year when you're talking about last year's data is nearly stupid. But when you use
I got a couple more picks.
Okay. What that comment was not toward you, Rockout. I'm just saying when you go wide receiver, and you say that's more likely to make it, that's near stupidity to say it that way. But to use the data to help you, guide you, but more so the more important data is things like, hey, over time, having 3 tight ends, there's a rotation there that the data supports. Having 3 quarterbacks, there's a rotation there that the data supports the likelihood of one of your 2 quarterbacks getting injured. Then you have the bye week on top of that, and if the bye week falls in a place where you've got one of your QBs injured, then you're screwed. And then on top of that, just the statistical odds of having, when you have 3 QBs, them supporting each other differently and you smashing a higher QB room total is just, the odds are on your side. So I feel like it's narrowed down to a nice 3 QBs, 3 tight ends. It is what it is. You know, if you draft in a unique way, then you don't necessarily need to do that. Let me see here. I'm going to go with Theo Johnson. I was going to go Tucker Kraft to cuff to my Luke Musgrave, which would have been nice, safe, and secure, but you just and adapt. I got sniped by one of our people, Sunwall. That's right, because Theo Johnson has a little bit of that breakout potential, and I don't mind mixing that into this team. Plus, you know, as much as I like the Tucker Kraft with Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft alone being injured right now isn't my favorite. But I love having the cuff, but I don't need the cuff because I got Theo in the building. So let me put my team on screen here. I'll drop a slow draft link in the live chat in a second if everybody would like to jump into that together. And then I don't know how long I'll go with it, but we'll definitely. What is this draft? This is what's this called? It's 5. Yeah. Okay, here we go. This is my first one. Boom, boom. Here's the teams. Let's look at them real quick. Superfish with the Tyreek Hill, the DK Metcalf, the Kyron Williams, the Josh Jacobs, the Jaden Reed, the Christian Watson. Really liking this squad here, Superfish. I really do. I mean, you've got... This is what I'm saying. You look at Team 12. No offense if... I think that's one of ours. I don't mean any offense by it. I'm just comparing the strategy. And you could have been trying something out that you normally don't do, and you might love it, you might hate it. Don't take offense. This is me just being, critiquing, and I could be wrong. But you look at Team 12, that went Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Tank Dell, and then Jalen Hurts. I love it. Those are all really good picks, too. Let me preface that if I was at the 12 spot, I wouldn't hesitate going Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Tank Dell, Jalen Hurts without touching a running back. That's me. I smashed that 4 all day long. But where I think you went wrong is, I don't know what this infatuation with Godwin is all of a sudden with people. But Godwin and Rashad White, those are kind of risky plays there. Dak, I don't know that I bully quarterback when you're in this running back deficit. Ferguson's a good pick. I don't mind that pick at all. But if we take that out and we go back up a little bit, let's reach a little on a couple RBs. Let's bring in a Kamara. Let's bring in a Kenneth Walker. Didn't last. Yeah, he did. Kenneth Walker. You could have drafted Kenneth Walker because he went 64. You took Chris Godwin. So if we put Kamara at 60, a little early, but you do it. Kamara at 60, cuff him to Kendra Miller. You drafted Kendra Miller, the 12th spot did. Anyway, so you go Kamara at 60, you go Kenneth Walker at 61. Now all of a sudden you have maybe one of the best top 2 teams in this entire draft. You got Garrett Wilson, you did Marvin Harrison Jr., Tank Dell, and Jalen Hurts beautifully. 3 wide receivers, QB, best player available. That is where I'm at. I do that all day long. Then I take, and if you want to leave Rachaad White in, because you're a big Rachaad White fan, I once was too, and I'm not down on him. I just don't know what I feel. I don't believe we're going to see a repeat of last year for the Bucs. I just don't. And the fact that he was so awful between the tackles shows that there's a lot of work on the offensive line and with him yards per carry, and I worry that they take some away. So I go Kamara and I go Walker, or I go even something craftier like, I mean, you really could go like Ramondre and like a Connor and Benson, like, and just get safe and secure. But that's what I would have done personally. Superfish, my whole point in going over there is to say that you could go wide receiver. Like, take a look at this number. Let's see. Like, take a look at number 11. A.J. Brown, Drake London, love those picks. But Neighbors, DJ Moore, does this team have such good wide receivers over Superfish's team too, that it was worth all that they surrendered, especially when they throw Kyle Pitts in the middle of that and still grab Keenan Allen? I haven't even looked at Team 11's running backs yet. But my question is, was it worth it? Are those 4 wide receivers, I love the first 2, but are Neighbors with no QB and DJ Moore, crowded room, are those 4 wide receivers worth sacrificing and crushing Superfish's 4 wide receivers? The answer is a absolute no. It's not worth it. Superfish has Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, Jaden Reed, and Christian Watson. I like that. I'm fine with that, considering that Superfish got Josh Jacobs and Kyron Williams as the running back stable. It makes it worth, even if you feel those other wide receivers are better, which, you know, you could argue they are. But if we scroll down and see what running backs, David Montgomery, Devin Singletary, Charbonnet, Antonio Gibson, Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson's not going to survive. Monty's the only player that's going to consistently help. That's just such a bare bones team aside from that wide receiver column. I don't like it at all. I don't understand. Superfish, I love your team. Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, Kyron Williams, Josh Allen, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Kyler Murray was a flippin' steal. And you cuffed Connor and Benson on top of it and got Goddard. What are we doing up in here? Did Superfish just draft a better team than I did in this draft? That is a remarkable squad. Unbelievable. Who's in the 11th spot? Did I offend somebody in here? I hope I didn't. Frank, if that's you, I'm sorry. I don't know. People who just grab Anthony Richardson with no setup are idiots. Literally donating $3. What is it? What does that even mean? Is that Speed your way of saying if you don't stack him, you're just gonna lose? Like you have to have Pittman with him, or he just doesn't have any value? Is that what you're talking about, Speed? I hope you're not saying that. I hope you're not saying that. Superfish, great job. What a team. What a team. Nick from the 7th spot, Amon-Ra, JT, Laporta, McBride, Anthony Richardson. There, I guess Speed was talking about Anthony Richardson, right? No early wide receivers. Anthony Richardson team has Amon-Ra, St. Brown. What do you mean no early wide receivers? And who cares about wide receivers? Oh, I guess the data. That's what it is. The data says you can't win by banking on later wide receivers that you like that are undervalued. I forgot. Anthony Richardson. Donating money just because you drafted Anthony Richardson was your comment, Speed. Donating money. Unbelievable. I will say, I don't think I go bully tight end, though, with this approach. I think that I would have rather, not trying to say Speed's right on any level, because Speed, your comments aren't jiving with what I'm saying. But I would have taken somebody else instead of this double tight end approach personally. Bully tight end's good, but I think it's more so fun to do like a poor man's bully tight end. Like Mark Andrews is in the 50s, or you got George Kittle in the 60s and you do that with Laporta, something like that. It's hard to go Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, and not get hit hard somewhere else. So it did leave the team a little bit depleted, but you still got Jamison Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Hopkins. It's still a good team. Wicks could be a potential sleeper for you. So it's not a bad team, Nick. Don't listen to what Speed's saying. Speed's hearing the data crunchers just act like you don't take wide receiver, you can't win because last year said. Speed says, this is where you're putting your foot in your mouth though, bro, because you're making assumptions that no one here agrees with. You've got over 100 people in here that are reading these comments, and none of them are going to agree with you. You said, so which team here is a bad team to you since there's no bad teams? When have I said there's no bad teams? When have I ever evaluated a draft and not been extra critical of 2 or 3 people throwing my hands up and literally complaining like I did at the 11 pick, like I did it at other spots in this draft? What are you talking about, Speed? It doesn't even make sense what you're saying. Every team is good. We're all winners. Yeah, second place trophies to everybody. I'm the most critical person you can find. What are you talking about, bro? You don't even know what you're saying. You don't even know what you're saying right now. You really don't, because I just got through telling you that the 11 pick wasn't better. I just got through telling you that what other team did I not like in this draft? I like 12, but I said why 12 won't win. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. All right.
You just spent the whole 2 or 3 minutes breaking down.
I know
2 or 3 teams, how you're doing differently.
People hear what they want to hear. There's no even convincing them. They come up with an agenda, and they literally don't even fathom. They don't even listen. That whole comment, Speed, no offense, but that whole comment about AR5, you draft AR5 and just a waste. If you don't set it up, it's such a waste. What do you mean you don't set it up? It's a waste. What are you talking about? I don't like the bully tight end approach, but that has nothing to do with AR5. AR5 is a smash. AR5 could be the number 1 overall score. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he's mine, but he could be the number 1 overall scorer in fantasy football, in Underdog Fantasy Best Ball. He could be the number 1 scorer. He's not my number 1. Let me preface again for you, Speed. But he could be. He could finish there. He's that good. So to suggest he has any part of a problem in the draft strategy is wild to me. And if anybody says you can't draft AR5 without drafting one of his wide receivers and stacking it, that is the biggest bunch of garbage you've been fed over and over and over by these data crunchers. And I love data. I use data. I'm a stat guy. I use it all the time. But you got to use it smartly. Because a lot of these people will tell you, got to do this, got to do that, got to do this, got to do that. Needs second wide receiver with AR5. No one's saying that he did well with the double tight end stack, Speed, but it has nothing to do with AR5. Why do you keep bringing AR5 into this? Needs a second wide receiver with AR5. AR5 has nothing to do with this. Why do you keep bringing up AR5's name? He's one of the 5s for a reason, bro. He's one of the 5s for a mother flipping reason. Where's my AR5?
There are 2 5s? KD5, AR5? There can't be.
Oh no. They're gonna cross streams.
The Saturn Men.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men.
This guy, league-winning monster.
Loads dropping and spinning.
Unbelievable. What's up, Travis?
Not much. I would think like AR5, even if you are like looking at data and stuff, would be one of the better QBs to draft by himself, because he doesn't, as of right now, have like a bona fide top 5 or even top 10 wide receiver for sure. And he runs the ball a lot, so he can throw and run, so he can support himself. Like, to me, like, if you are doing a bully tight end, like, yeah, you still want receivers, but like, he might be a better one to pick, in my opinion.
It's wild, bro.
Wrong, but
it's wild. I love that there was a guy who used to come in, he doesn't show up anymore, but he used to come into my streams and just try and down talk my strategies all the time. First of all, you're not going to survive here long, because it's not about disagreeing. It's about being disrespectful and trying to come in here and act like you're a teacher in the live chat to everybody. Guys, let me tell you what Smitty does wrong here. Let me tell you what Smitty's doing wrong here. No one wants you in the chat. You're trying to disrupt, and no one cares. No one cares about that person in their comments. So you end up getting kicked out. It's not about differing opinions. It's not. It's about being an absolute bozo in the live stream. And there was a guy who used to come in here and say something like, Smitty, you can't believe you're telling people that if you draft Jamar Chase without Joe Burrow, you can win. You absolutely cannot win drafting Chase or Burrow without stacking them together. You're basically just surrendering your money. Like, as if you can't, and we talk about this all the time. It's as if you can't draft Jamar Chase and Jalen Hurts. And, oh, wait, I forget. I guess I was right last year. Joe Burrow got hurt. Jamar Chase didn't. He still kept playing. And if you drafted Jalen Hurts, he was a top 6 quarterback 11 weeks out of the 17. Oh, I wonder who won, me or that guy. I wonder if not cuffing Jamar Chase to Burrow saved my Hurts season when I stepped out of bounds and drafted Jalen Hurts with my Jamar Chase. That guy's the one that didn't advance. Your boy did, because he had Hurts and Jamar Chase. This is crazy, bro. People are so wild. They're so married to this data. And what's so crazy to me is these are some of the smarter people in terms of math, and I'm not saying anything negative about a lot of people that go wide receiver that are very, very versed in best ball strategy, approach, math. They're probably a lot of them are poker players, etc. But they aren't risk-averse people. Most of the people that rinse and repeat, they're very much show it to me, and that if I see it work, I will then apply it and try and dominate that strategy. So the problem is you have a lot of gut-driven people that are doing different things right, but maybe they're not good at fantasy. And they're the ones muddying up the waters on the other side of the fence with the running back approaches, the balanced approaches. And then you got a lot of the smarter guys, just in terms of just general logic, they're not risk averse. They see the data, and then every year they're all jumping in again, going wide receiver heavy. So naturally, the majority of people that advance are going to be in this 70% of every draft that's gone wide receiver heavy. So you're dealing with the draft that has 70% of it wide receiver heavy. The odds of 2 or 3 of those people advancing are higher because there's more of them, and it just kind of muddies up the data in the waters. It's so wild that people think you have to, and not to mention in some of these cases when people say, oh, you go running back, wide receiver, and if you go running back, you have a 8% or 12% chance of making it to the final, the finals. And then if you go wide receiver, or you go wide receiver heavy, like 4 in the top 6 rounds, you have an 18% chance. Like, oh, my 12. I could have improved my 12% up to 18 when I might be the one dominating that 12% because everybody in there doesn't know what they're doing. Because all the people that do know what they're doing are being told, be logical, Steve, and they are a logical person. I'm not a risk averse. I'm a risk averse person. I'm going to follow the data until somebody tells me there's another pathway. I'm a very smart guy, but I'm not a very big risk taker. I'm going to keep going wide receiver until that data shows me to go differently. And I'm over here flying by the seat of my pants, just some wild man doing a running back approach. All I got to do is smash my wide receivers. Keep thinking what you want, people. Keep talking trash. I don't care. I promise you, in a year, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, but maybe next offseason, there will be a lot of rogue Rodgers like me trying to act like they've been talking about this longer, trying to act like this is new, fresh information. I'm just the only one that likes to go against the grain a little more often in best ball than the average bear. Doesn't mean I always do it. I even told you guys, I think he didn't necessarily draft the right running backs. I think Team 12 could have been the best team in this draft if they had gone different running backs. But I told you, I would draft this team from the 12th spot. I am not against wide receiver. I've done 4 straight wide receivers before, but it's rare that the best player available is going to be that wide receiver 4 straight times in a row. But I have also told you that if it ever is going to happen, and it has on very rare occasions, I've taken 4, and on semi-rare occasions, I've taken 3, it's always happened from that 12 or 11 spot, because that's where I tend to go, Garrett Wilson, Marvin, and then if the best player available falls to that turn pick again, it's like I do this, Dell and Hurts. I love that. So, but that team, I didn't like the running backs, but I loved the approach up to that point when I just think they took the wrong RBs. But my team right here, I feel pretty good about it. It's Patrick Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, and Justin Fields. Fields is kind of like that player I don't necessarily need, but I like it because if he gets in there, and who knows what we could see out of Jalen Hurts or out of Justin Fields. Achane, Kamara, Mostert, and Jalen Wright cuffing that Miami Dolphin running back crew. Again, it's the second best cuffing situation in all of fantasy behind Corum and Kyron. Absolutely love that I did that. Taking Braylon Allen, a nice little touchdown shot in the dark each week on top of having them for bye weeks. I like that the bye weeks actually merge together perfectly, where my 2 week 12 bye week guys, Braylon Allen and Kamara, have it in the same week. And then I have 3 running backs. I can definitely start 2 of the Miami Dolphin running backs during that bye week situation. Justin Jefferson, Devontae Smith, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Jahan Dotson, Xavier Legette, and Jermaine Burton. So I've cuffed Dotson to JD5. I've also cuffed Mahomes to Worthy and Hollywood. I've got Musgrave. I've got Gesicki. And I've got, who was my last tight end? It was Theo Johnson. Yeah. I think it's a good squad. I really like it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like the Burton Gesicki move. That's like, I think one of them anyway will end up playing a pretty good role on that team.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. This is probably one of my better non-Best Ball Mania, non-Superflex teams I've drafted in any of the other tournaments combined. I really like the squad. I feel really, really good about it.
And that's like something people should try here and there, is those like sneaky type of puffs late in the draft where like it isn't a QB and a wide receiver, QB and a tight end or something, but it's 2 players that are on the same team in a good offense that is looking for that other piece to the offense. The chances are one of those 2 are going to step up and play well. They both could, but you have a good shot that one of the 2, at least gives you some weeks that are high scoring.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple comments in the chat. I forget who just said it, but saying that Mostert's old or whatever. That's not somebody I'm drafting standalone. But when you have Achane and you cuff Mostert and Wright, you don't need Mostert to stay healthy all year. In some cases, you're rooting he doesn't, because then Achane goes off even more, or Jalen Wright becomes way better than Mostert because he's younger or something. But Mostert's so capable of having like a first good month of the year. I might be starting Achane and Mostert together for 4 straight weeks and getting a huge lead and just being an absolute fire running back room. And then Mostert gets hurt and whatever. But I don't love drafting him standalone. I mean, I will, but I don't love it. But it's all about cuffing that running back stable in best ball. It's not about is Mostert old, do you like his value? It's all about cuffing it all up. And it's, yeah, watch out for my boy says, but when Mostert has that 3 TD game, you hit, that's the whole point. You know, you almost with Achane, Mostert, and Wright, you almost barely need another running back. Just because either Wright and Achane are going to ball out on a lot of occasions, or Mostert and Achane are going to ball out. And if they don't, I do have Kamara. You know, I don't see one of the running backs not doing well. And if it's Jalen Wright and not Achane and Mostert, and then Kamara and Wright ball out, I'm going to be covered. It's an absolute... It's such an amazing strategy. To avoid Achane and Mostert and Wright as a trio is a travesty in best ball. It's
because
phenomenal strategy.
I was just going to say, and like you were saying, especially in best ball, because that offense can hold 2 running backs doing different things at the same time in that offense. Like there's a situation where it could even end up, you know, by the end of the season being a better cuff than the Kyron Form. The Kyron Form is such a natural cuff in that offense that it just makes sense. It's the best. But because, like you said, if you happen to get all 3, you like almost don't need another running back. You still take them, but
yeah. And to some of the bye week concerns, it doesn't, like, it's relative. It's relative. You have more firepower all season long when you have guys that share bye weeks and you have a complicated bye week situation. So I totally disagree with the bye weeks can take you out in this scenario, in this format. No concern at all.
Yeah.
The rotation of it.
ADP.
You what?
Right. I was going to say their ADP allows you to, you know, take another running back to cover for those bye weeks, you know.
Yeah, but again, it's like I have them covered. I have them thinly covered, but with 5 running backs, you're never going to be bulletproof on every single thing to a point where, like. But again, I don't care if I maybe bleed out a little bit 1 week versus the entirety of the season. I'm going to be stronger at running back for the remainder of those weeks instead of being kind of hit a little bit here and there throughout the entirety of the season. You know, to have everybody on a different bye week doesn't necessarily have a greater advantage. It's all relative. You definitely want to be able to plug your holes, but at the same time, as long as you are covering your bases to a degree, even if it's like a Braylon Allen's in there, like you could smash for 15 straight weeks though, because you're bye week free for 15 weeks at the running back position. I'm bye week free for 15 weeks at the running back position. That there's advantage to that. It's all relative. Don't let bye week scare you at all. There's a lot of bye week, content out there. Like, don't do this. It's phenomenal.
That's like we talked about in the Patreon with that kid that he took everyone on the same bye week, and like we were saying, how like it's not necessarily like a strategy we would really use that much.
Yeah.
But there are people who do it because that's what they're going for, you know.
But the people that do that are the people that are not gut driven. And I'm not saying that non-gut driven people don't win. They clearly, calculated, poker player that's got into fantasy and he's very, very much, here's the data. They can win. They can do good things. But when you start drafting a team in weeklies, and this was not weeklies, this is a regular $3 regular format type of best ball draft. But in weeklies, if you draft everybody that has the same bye week in attempt to get 16 shots at winning versus having bye weeks, the problem is you're forcing yourself to draft from a much smaller group of players. And then on top of that, you don't just get your crack at every one of them. You're getting sniped along the way. You're getting leftovers of maybe 2 of the wide receivers here, leftovers of the 2 of the wide receivers here. It's not a very lucrative strategy because you have to literally get lucky, and you're not going to get almost your shot at any one of those players that have that bye week. and be able to piecemeal the perfect combo of them, you're going to get sniped. You're not going to get the best player every time you're up. You're going to lose that guy there. You're going to lose that guy there. And your pool of players in week 14 are going to be so much, smaller. The guys that have the week 14 bye, I mean. So it's not a very good strategy. Could it win? Sure, if you got extremely lucky, but it's not. You're literally narrowing down the teams that you get to draft from, and the odds of you getting everyone you want is slim to none.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is that everyone else is determining who you pick, basically.
Yeah,
you have no control over
don't
your
listen
draft.
to bye week concerns. Do not listen to bye week concerns, and don't draft. In my opinion, in weeklies, don't draft from a small pool of teams to try and win and, have 7. Like, who cares? Like, look at this strategy. I'm going to have a tough time winning week 6 if this was weeklies. But it's not weeklies. But I would have a tough time winning week 6 if it was weeklies. You can still do something where you have a lot of your guys out on a bye week in week 6 and you still have the best team you could have drafted. Like, this team in weeklies, it would be, great and phenomenal because I would have more shots at winning, outside of that 1 week 6 crushing me bye week wise. I didn't try and draft week 6 players or anything like that, but I just made sure I could cover myself, and I absolutely could.
I missed it. It kind of flew by. Oh, someone in the chat said, I drafted every Miami skilled position in a weekly draft. That wouldn't necessarily be a great strategy, though, would it? Because the chances that they all go off at once. I guess if it's a huge week for a team,
I do think that's actually a good strategy, and I've done it.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because you're not just drafting those guys. You're also drafting a plethora of other players to surround it. And the one team in the National Football League, that could have 5 TD passes from their quarterback, 5 rushing touchdowns from the running backs, and Tyreek Hill still getting 100 yards and a touchdown or 190 yards and no touchdowns on 15 receptions is the Miami Dolphins team. It's an absolute circus, so you couple that with the late, Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, maybe you still get a JD5 in that, in case something happened. I don't know. You probably wouldn't want that because if this team's going to go off, it's going to be through Tua. But then you have, let's say you have Vidal and he steps in too, or let's say you have Christian Watson and you have potentially Wicks, and Wicks become like you're gonna have a lot of other supporting players that are gonna come in. It's not just gonna be starting Miami and then you have 2 or 3 weak links. You might have those fill in. So if there's any team worth doing that, it would be the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion. I think even more so than like the Niners. The Niners seems like, oh, that's a good team too. No, it's not, because usually when one guy's going off, the next guy is not. It's not like Debo and Ayuk are both. What I was
thinking of, yeah.
Yeah, they're not both exploding. But
how do you feel about Jonnu? Like, would you like Jonnu or Gesicki better this year?
Probably Gesicki.
Yeah, I do too, because I just think he could carve out a legit role, and like he was a little before his time. I think he's one of those like slot pure pass catching tight ends, that are coming around now. I'm not saying he's as good as like a Kincaid or anything, but like that's more his style of play.
I mean,
And
how confident are we that Jonnu Smith's going to be utilized by Miami Mike? To the tune that we're.
Like, I could see him maybe getting like filling in here and there and getting some of those like wide back type like passes here and there and looks like that, and some trick plays, and
thanks, Frank.
He's very athletic, but
appreciate you, Frank.
But I can't see him getting a ton of targets.
I think with Joe Burrow in a offense that has a lot of injuries a lot of the time. Hopefully it's not to the quarterback, but there's a lot of injuries, and I could see safety net type of production for Gesicki. I think Jonu's competing. Not only is Jonu going to be the last man to eat, and he's got tons of pass catchers there. And we're talking about two of the running backs, two of the wide receivers, and then Jonu Smith gets to get a serving of the cake. And there's probably a little sliver left.
And then,
so consistency-wise, I don't see
Odell
it.
and Malik Washington, and
yeah. Consistency-wise, I don't see the opportunities there for Jonu Smith. I know Superfish loves Jonu Smith, but I just don't know.
A lot of people do.
I don't know that there's going to be enough consistency for him. Could he have some big games? Like, well, as a Dolphins fan, are you going to love Jonu Smith, Superfish? Yeah, I think he'll do really well.
Yeah.
But consistency, like you're talking about, trying to take a stab at a different player that could play better for the entirety of the season consistently, I think Jonu, there are better options. I could be wrong on this. I mean, I like Jonu a lot, but I think in both Gesicki and Jonu feel like they could disappoint as well. Like, they're not locks by any means, but I think if forced to choose, I'd say, I guess, give me the guy in the offense where there's a little bit more of a likelihood we're going to see consistency. I also think that, I don't know. Tough to say.
Like Jonu, I never understood why the Patriots brought him in, because he's like the opposite of what Belichick wants. Like, Belichick just wants a guy that can block and catch and passes, unless you're a freak like Gronk or something. But
if I'm being honest, I mean,
useless there.
Best ball because I
better in that system.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, because of best ball, I draft 3 tight ends. These are conversations I can have, like Jonu, my third tight end, Jelani Woods or Jonu Smith or Gesicki or Theo Johnson, because we're drafting best ball like on this. But if we're in a non-best ball, I'm not drafting Jonu ever. I'm not drafting Gesicki ever.
Nope.
I'm not drafting Theo Johnson ever. I'm literally looking at one of the deepest tight end pools we've ever seen. You have no business even needing to go near those guys. Real
another
quick,
one. No. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Noah Fant.
I keep seeing his name, and I'm like, I feel like we've been playing this game for 5 years now. Like, he's going to break out. He's finally going to break out. This year's the year.
Yeah. This is like saying Deontay's finally going to do it. This is Deontay's year.
All in.
His hands have been frozen in ice cold stone, and he's going to break out like Forrest Gump with them and just start catching everything. It's going to be Deontay's year.
Warm weather in Carolina.
All right, let me go to Rockout real quick. I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to drop a private draft link. Rockout, what do you got, pal? My man.
Yeah, are you taking any London this year? I know he's going in the second, so it's kind of hard for me to do it.
Yeah, I am. A lot of London. Oversaturating with London, no. But taking him at like 14, 13, 15. You can't really get him later than like 15, but I see him fall there. I like it. I like it. But I know he's going, like, the reason, look, we got him on the it's the Marsman, right?
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Marsman.
So he's on the Marsman. I feel like anybody that
dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
Anybody that becomes hard to draft at a certain point, we're not taking him off so that we can forget that we called it. Like, this is a guy that we had when he was barely breaching round 2 on occasion, and he was in the 3rd round. People were not into the idea of London being as valuable as he is right now. So he's climbed almost out of the territory of being a steal or a bargain, but he still could earn his value, because could he be a top 5 or 6 wide receiver? Yes. Well, he's being drafted as like wide receiver 10, wide receiver 11. That's about where London is. So if he can be number 6, that's like double his value. He's like doubling his value. So there's still a chance he could be that good. But we have put him on Mars to indicate that it's kind of been victorious so far. A lot of people benefited. But we're not taking him off the Mars, man. He's going to be there as like almost like as Travis said, a graduate or a success story of already landing on Mars. I'm not taking him off. He's there for record. And, maybe he doesn't deliver, and then it looks silly to have him up there. But I feel like mission accomplished. Anybody that was drafting early, anybody that was in a dynasty league that could trade for him at lesser value before he climbed up. But to your point, Rockout, I still like to draft him. I still think he could earn it. He could double his value from pick number 13 or 14 overall. I think, to be honest with you, his floor is right where we're drafting him. I'm not saying his upside is guaranteed. I'm not saying his ceiling is very easily reached. I almost think you could call him the most unmovable player from his ADP. Like, he is going to score where you're drafting him. Like, his ceiling and floor are not that much far away from his ADP. Very tight, but probably finishes somewhere right where you're drafting him. There's a shot he goes all the way up to like 7 overall, but I think it's a very smart place to still draft him, because if he gets you, 1,300 yards, 1,200 yards minimum, and pulls at 90 receptions minimum and 8 touchdowns, does that not kind of earn you second round value? I mean, even if there are a couple players you should have taken over him that outperformed him, like, you're not losing a league at all drafting him as your second drafted player, getting 1,300, 8, and 90. So he'll be great. But I get what you're saying.
Especially when there's guys like, and I like Nico Collins, but Nico Collins and even Diggs I see go in the second round with some people, and give me London over guys like that all day. Obviously, he was in the top 5, if not in some data 1, in contested catches last year. Now, a hater is going to tell you it's because he was never getting open, but that's just a hater. Ritter was throwing him the football. A guy that has a name that sounds like a disease. The Ritter was throwing him the football. He's now got a guy that just spoon-fed Justin Jefferson massive targets. And if Penix comes in, Penix spoon-fed Adunze massive targets and is one of the best throwing quarterbacks in this draft class by far. Way better. Penix Jr. is my number 2 quarterback. Always has been. I have not changed my number 1 and number 2 rookie QBs the entire offseason, dating back to even before January, but specifically documented on the Saturn, Moon, and Mars Man list. I documented that these were my number 1 and number 2 QBs, JD5 and Penix Jr. That's right, Caleb Williams believers. Caleb is not even in my top 3. It's JD5, Penix Jr. tier break. Oh, that's so funny. Well, wait and see. Circle back. So anyways, I think that London's going to be handed a situation where if he was top 5, we'll call it, in the league in contested catches, what do you think he's going to do with Kirk Cousins slinging him the rock? Or worst case scenario, something happens and we got a situation on our hands where Penix Jr. comes in. And if Penix Jr. comes in and doesn't light it up, guess who's going back in once he's healthy and ready to go again, assuming he doesn't tear his other Achilles? Guess who? Kirk Cousins. So if he is good, he'll stay in. So you're protected. There's a draft I just dropped in the live chat. It's the $3 private draft on Underdog. Do it live. Smash it. Appreciate you. Let me go over to that and load it up real quick. I'm probably not going to stay much longer, boys. Did you have anything else rock out?
Yeah, you think it's going to be a slow start to that Eagles-Packers game there in Brazil?
It's a good question, man. It's a really good question. Let me go over to the schedule. We'll pop it up so everybody can take a little gander at it.
It's Friday.
The first game of the year.
Yeah.
Second game.
Right.
Friday.
Yeah.
Preseason?
Regular season.
Oh, okay.
Where's my... That's week 17. Where's my week 1? Here it is. Week 1. Week 1 schedule right here. So, Thursday night is the Ravens at KC. That's opening day. Then Friday, Green Bay versus Eagles. And yeah, that one's in
Brazil.
Brazil. Yeah, I'll be honest. Because there's no short week, I kind of wonder if we'll just get a good game. You know, like the big part of the reason why the Thursday games, especially traveling, you know, games as well, are tough because you're drained. You've played a lot of games, or you know, you've got a short turnaround, and I mean, traveling sucks. Big Daddy, appreciate you. Traveling sucks. Like, I just got back from Vegas, and man, I was exhausted just waiting for my shuttle, going through all the traveling, going up, going down. I mean, it wears you out, and so the traveling part is kind of brutal. But how early they're going to get there? Hopefully, they're there a little while before, and they can kind of adjust. But I don't know. I guess I would say that I think that one will be a good game. What time is it at? 5? Okay, so good. This isn't one of those, you know, we're all asleep when it goes on. Ziggy, what time is it in Brazil?
Brazil has multiple time zones. In Sao Paulo, it is 3:41 a.m.
Ziggy, off. So we're talking about like 3 or 4 hour difference. So yeah, I mean, we're talking about, that's like a 1 o'clock game for us, or
1 hour difference from Eastern time. 1 hour ahead of Eastern time.
Oh yeah, for me. So for me, that's going to be like a 1 o'clock game, 1:15 game. That's cool. That's cool on a Friday. Be watching a game before I do my 8 p.m. show. That's insane. So yeah, I'm not gonna be too concerned about it. Rock out. I'm not too concerned about it. I guess I'd be more concerned about, like, if that was in the middle of week, you know, if that was week 3 or 4. But there's something to be concerned about, I guess, a little bit. I hate these traveling games.
Yeah,
we've gone over.
Germany.
We've gone over this before, and I'm sorry. We got a lot of overseas people that watch this channel, so I mean no disrespect from this at all. And I know I've said this before, and Charles T's one of our Germany guys, and he knows I love him, and he knows I love all of our people across the world. It's just awesome that we've got people across the world. We got people who watch the show religiously from different countries. It's really cool. But I don't think I'm being offensive by saying I don't think we should be playing outside of the U.S. I don't think we don't have teams that are based outside of the U.S. We have no business taking these teams to just go expose them to other countries and expose football. I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, do something like that. Do the preseason games or whatever, you know, the Pro Bowl, or I don't know, something like that. Sure, but like, why do we have to do this to our players? Because the people impacted are the players and also the fans. Like, when we do a Germany game or some sort of overseas game that's really, really early, half the fan base doesn't get to watch it in the United States. So you could say, oh, exposing, you know, to new fan bases, but the viewership's going to go down on that game for people that are in the States. Because I'm West Coast, I'm fast asleep until halftime, and I get up and this game starts at like 5:30 or 6:30 or whatever. I'm fast asleep because I got off a live stream at 1:30 a.m. By the time I get to bed, it's like 2:30 my time. I just don't understand why we do it. And I mean, I understand why the NFL is doing it, but I don't think they're thinking it out correctly. Like, you could still watch. Can you offer it free for people to view across the whole world? Like, would that not be potentially better? Like, say, hey, everyone in the entire world, here's, like, let's figure out a way to let everybody watch, you know, week number 7 or something. Figure out a way to gift people the viewing pleasure of the NFL on a wide spectrum, instead of forcing this group of people to go to the game and say, we're exposing the NFL to new people. You can't watch it on TV. Why does it have to impact our players? Why does it have to be always Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars? Why does it have to be? Yeah. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's the Jaguars owner. He wants to bring a team to London. So he's like, he volunteers at any shop to go overseas.
3 more to get in this draft. Click the link here. Enter my $3 private league draft. Boom, smash it, do it live. All right, boys, I'm out of here. Appreciate you, unless you got one final thought, either one of you.
Nope. I think I'm all set. Appreciate it, Smitty.
Yeah, rock out. Rock out to the moon. Thank you, Travis, for moderating. Thank you, Rock Out, for those super chats, pal. You're the man.
Yeah.
All right, later.
Later. Bye.
go get on over to the, first of all, hit the link that's pinned in the live chat right now for Underdog Fantasy. Okay, do that live. 2 more to start in the draft. Here's the draft right here. Boom. Join that private $3 draft. The best way I can describe these $3 drafts, you're not doing a big tournament, but you're doing a $3 draft. It's like doing a mock draft that you can win $20 on. It's doing a mock draft where first place gets 20, second place gets like $13, I think, and third place might get their money back. But it's a real league. It's a 17-week league where we're all together the entirety of the way. There's no separating out into different. It's a private 17-man draft that is real, that has a $20 prize, because $3 times 12, then they take their rake. It's the leftovers are left for us. And it's such an amazing way. Instead of doing a mock draft, we just do a real cheap $3 draft that can win you $20. Do another one, could win you $20. So your mock drafting practices become like a ritual of maybe making money while you're mock drafting, but really, really drafting. So that's the way these private league drafts work. If you click the link right now, I'll drop one more. We got 2 more spots to fill it. If you click that link and join, then you're a part of this like kind of live, real drafting mock draft community that we're kind of always doing this. And it fine tunes your skills. Big time. That is all she wrote for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Join that draft. Also, please make sure to get on over to the Patreon. I'll drop that link in a second, but the Patreon is a place where the first 200 members, and we probably could reach that by this weekend, or I would say by Thursday night, by midnight. Make sure you get your Patreon membership. $10 a month. First 200 people get into a 242-man league. If you've not gotten your email yet, don't freak out. I've only sent about 3 leagues worth of people. So there's 11 people in each of the... I'm sorry, there's 22 people in each of the 11 drafts. And it's a best ball, not on Underdog, though. It's on Sleeper, and it's free to enter the draft, right? Because it's not a best ball, it's actually just a best ball on Sleeper, so anybody can play it. It's not state limited because there's no actual entry fee or anything. So it's on Sleeper. It's 11 leagues of 22. The 11 winners join me in 2025 in the official Dynasty Startup League on the channel, regular style, not best ball, not some weird lineup like the 22-man league will be. But you'll get into that Dynasty League. You have to have an active Patreon account for the entirety of it. If you win, you won't get kicked out of these leagues here. The 200 people that get into the 242-man league, you won't get kicked out of that if you had to cancel your Patreon. But if you make it to the end and you win the grouping of 22 to make it in the top 11, and you don't have an active Patreon the whole time, it'll go to the next person because it's a Patreon community type of thing. But I'll send the emails out to everybody. First 200 get in. You get 10 live chats. It looks like this app right here. You basically have 10 live chats, and then you have a button you can click to go to the lockdown content that I write up on there as well. So get on over to the Patreon. That link is right here. Let me post it for you guys, and I'll pin it real quickly on the way out the door. Here it is. Join my Patreon. Here's the link. Join the Patreon. Damn it. Typing it wrong here. Patreon. Boom. Smash that link. I'll pin that link in the live chat right now. Let me see if I can load the bad boy. Okay, that's pinned. And on that note, I'll leave you with the wonderful and beautiful animation video / drop that is The Matrix. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Matrix activated.
The Matrix is drafting chase, Lamb or Hill in round 1. A chain and Kyren specifically in rounds 2 and 3.
Yes.
Then Mahomes or Hurts, and of course Allen if he fell in round 4. In round 5, McBride or Kincaid.
The Matrix, the best draft strategy in the entire Milky Way galaxy.
Unload the Matrix upon your league.
Game over.
See you all later. Appreciate you all. Hit the like button on the way out the door. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Live whenever big news breaks. And we just filled this draft. I'm not going to stay. I'm going to stay to make my pick. Travis is on the clock already. If Travis does pick, I will draft my pick real quickly, and then I'll punch out. Thanks, Superfish. Matrix, let's go. Matrix season, let's ride. Let's see if Travis, you there? I think Travis is there. Draft starts in 23 seconds. Travis will pick, then I'll pick, and then I'll punch out. Appreciate you all. See you all tomorrow. We had 3 live streams today. What a good first day back in the office here. 3 live streams coming off the Vegas trip. Most people, I'm take a little break. Not me. Not on my watch. What do I do first time I get back? 3 live streams. There ain't no time off. There ain't no break. Let's go with lamb chops here. Concern? Little bit. No, I'm fine. No, I'm not concerned about the contract at all. He'll be okay. Doses. Oh, by the way, real quickly. I believe, I'm not positive, but I believe. Let me go over and check real quick. I don't want to be a liar here. Oh, please be true. Please be true. Please be true. Please be true. Hold on. Can't wait. I think this is true. Hold on. I think tonight on Netflix. Where is it at? Eddie Murphy might be dropping. Let's see here. Where is this at? Hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Anybody know where I'm going with this? Doesn't it drop tonight? I think it drops at midnight. So if you're in the East Coast, you should see it. I think Beverly Hills Cop should drop. I think it's tonight. I think at midnight it drops. And it might have been Eastern. Am I wrong, or is that going to be tomorrow night? Maybe it's tomorrow night. No, it's got to be tonight. I think it was tonight. Let me see. Beverly Hills. I don't see it yet on there. Does anybody know? Maybe I'm wrong. That's why I didn't want to promise anybody. I wanted to look it up first. Netflix. Watch me be so wrong. I'm gonna have to take a big fat lap. Is it Wednesday? July 3rd? Okay, so that's probably what it was. Damn it. Okay, so Wednesday. What it was probably saying was for East Coast people, time had already flipped over. I went live before midnight and it said tonight, countdown tonight. So I'm here in yesterday. It's still not even the 2nd for me. We're 5 minutes away from July 2nd. It's 11:55. So I always get hit by that. I always get neutralized by the East Coast time. It's always screwing with me. So guess I won't watch it tonight. But Wednesday, so tomorrow night at midnight, same deal. I think probably 9 p.m. Arizona time, Vegas time, West Coast time. 9 p.m. tomorrow. Midnight Eastern, Beverly Hills Cop 4, drops on Netflix. Can't wait to watch it. Bad Boys was unbelievable. Bad Boys number, what was it, 4? Bad Boys 4? That was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Probably the best one of them all. I had such a blast watching that. McCaffrey, CD, Tyreek, Jamar Chase, and we're waiting on this guy right here. Appreciate you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, it's called Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. Should be good. I hope it's as good as the Bad Boys, you know, being brought back. All right, later, everybody. See you tomorrow.